Hi, I'm Amanda Skelton, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'd like to show you how to make this lovely ribbon dispenser box today. So it reveals 6 reels of ribbon, and the reels are about, so it'll house reels that are about 3 1/4 of an inch by about 1/2 of an inch deep. So 6 of those will go into it, and it's really nice. It keeps them all in order, and because it's hexagonal shape, they'll stack as well together, side by side or on top of each other as well. So if you've got more than 6 sets of ribbons like I have, shush, don't tell the husband, then you can make multiple of these, and you can make it obviously to go with your craft room or your to match your decor. So that's what we're going to make today. So I'm using the papers, which are called Dainty Flowers, and they're the free papers currently in the Stampin' Up! Celebration event. So I've got this design here that you can see here, and I've just got a couple of other sections here. So there's this is only half a piece of 12 by 12, so you've got 6 of these on and 4 of these, so you can cut a panel like this and it'll make a card very easily, just with a stamped sentiment and a ribbon. Really easy to make a card with that. Got this nice pink colour here, and this is really nice to have as a background. You can just add, butterfly or whatever. This does go with the Dainty Flowers bundle as well, that's in the current January to June mini catalogue. So you can buy the stamps and the dies that match this, so you can layer, and they'll actually match the flowers, so you can layer it up to make it look like decoupage. So that's a really nice addition as well. And as always, 2 sides, so you've got some more like watercolory type, but again, things that you can use for any cards on there. Okay, so this is a sample. So like I said, this is one of the sets of papers, and then what I do as well is I just put this on a little circle on the side, just to sort of tidy up and to hide a lot of the gluing on the side. So that's what we're going to make today. So what do we need? So we need a piece of A4, sorry, not A4, we need a piece of white card, or coloured card if you want to use coloured card. You really do need like a 12 by 12 size paper for this, because the dimensions are 8 inches by 11 3/4, so that's longer than an A4 piece of paper. So you need to have that, and then you're going to score it across the long edge. You want to score it at 1 7/8 of an inch, 3 3/4 of an inch, 5 5/8 of an inch, 7 1/2 inches, 9 3/8, and then 11 1/4. So it needs a little section here. And then on each side, you want to score up 1 7/8. So 1 7/8 here. I don't know if you can see that. 1 7/8 here, and 1 7/8 here. Okay. I'm just going to leave the dimensions here for you, so you can take a copy of that and just look at the sizes, so you can get everything prepared. And I've just done a visual diagram here, and we're going to remove these 2 corners, and we're going to cut up each of these edges here up to the score marks. Okay, so let's get going then. So what we also need, which I forgot to tell you, is which was on the instructions, some coloured card or some patterned paper. So again, this is one of the Dainty Flowers papers, and you want 5 panels of this, and this measures 4 inches by 1 5/8 of an inch. Okay, and what you'll also want is 2 circles, if you want to, you don't have to, 2 circles for the edges, and they measure 2 1/2 inches across diameter. And I've just used a circle die for those. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can do. Okay, so I've cut this all from a contiguous piece of paper, so that when you have the pattern, you won't notice it that much, unless it's a really obvious design. You're not going to notice it that much, but you can keep them contiguous if you want. Okay, so This is the side where I've got the narrow score line. So as I said, we want to cut out the 2 corners. Okay, I'm doing this by hand, but you can use your trimmer if you want to. There you go. And then we're going to cut up each of these score marks on the side, but only up until the score mark. So we're going to do that both sides. These are going to make the side panels to glue together to make the hexagon shape in a minute. Okay, so the same on the other side. You don't need to worry about taking little triangles out of this, because it's not going to be making a square box, so you don't have to worry about trying to take some of the edges off. Last section. There you go. Okay, then once you've done that, you can then fold all your creases. So again, I've started from this edge here with the small section, and it needs to go upwards, and then you just want to follow it all the same way, folding each score mark on the last one, and then you can do the same to the side panels as well. Make sure they stay straight. You can line them up with the other score marks in the middle. Same the other side. You can use a bone folder if you want to get nice crisp marks. So this section here is this little lip here, just so that it overlaps. So that's always going to be your front. Okay, so what I want you to do, which will make it easier, is, so this is going to be the front panel here, and what we want to do is not put paper on the bottom. There's no point, because you're not going to see it, so you might as well save a piece of paper. So not the first big panel, but the second big panel, I'm just going to put a cross on here, okay, just so I know not to put the paper. And then what I'm going to do is, this is going to be the top. So this is the pattern that I want to go. So when you've got it like this, the bottom piece of your paper is going to be at the bottom, and then the others are all going to follow through. Okay, so like I said, I've got my 5 pieces here. This is the right order for it. I've taken the bottom section here, and the piece where you've got the flap, that's where I'm going to put that facing that direction, because when it's put together, that's the way it's going to go. Okay, so we just want to glue those on. Okay, again, make sure it's the right way up if you've got directional paper. Okay, so now once you've done that, you can basically turn it all the way over, and then you can place these on. So these are going to be the 4 there, and again, you've got your cross on here, so you're not putting any on there. And again, they're going to face up. Because this is the first panel that you'll see on the top. So I just want to centre those on. Again, make sure they're the right way up. Centre it on. It just look quite nice when it flows, when the pattern flows, it looks nice. Just want to make sure they're nice and centered and they're not going over any of the score lines. There should be plenty of space around them, so there shouldn't be any need to worry about that. Okay, so that's all of our pieces put on. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is make the holes for our ribbon to come through, and you need to do it at this stage before it's before we've made it up, otherwise we can't get this through the sorry, let's do it that way, shall we? Can't get it through the die cutting machine. So that is a section here with the lip. We don't want that piece, we want this piece, so it's the top section that's going to come over, so it's that piece that we want. Okay, so what I've done is I've created a template, so you can get 6 reels of ribbon in, so you've got 6 holes. Now I can just about get away with the size, so I've used a circle die which is 1/2 inch diameter. You can get away with a bit smaller than that, maybe 1/3 inch or something like that. That was the smallest size I could have. If you've got like a hole punch that you can make small, you know, make smaller than 1/2 inch, or you could do squares or something like that, or you could, if you wanted to, you could just make a slit in here. If you haven't got a die or something to make 6 things, you could just make a slit in here. It just means that your ribbons could overlap, but you know, if you haven't got another way of doing it, then that is an option. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to line up, and what you're going to do is just make sure that your circles leave enough of a gap in between and that they're equally moved. So I'm just going to place this on here, and I'm going to line up the bottom section with the bottom section of this panel, and I'm going to make sure it's equal both sides, which is about there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold a piece of washi tape over it just to keep it in place. Okay, so if we just look at, so the bottom edge of the circles are about 1/2 inch away from the bottom edge. The top one's about 3/4 inch. So just to give you an idea of the positioning, just so that it flows nicely. Okay. So now we need to die cut them. So because what I've used actually to make the circles, when I said that they're 1/2 inch, I've used the small circle from the Seaside Bay dies. There's a circle in there for doing the pearl, and it's a circle. Perfect for this. So that's what I've reused. Like I said, if you've got other dies or punches or something like that, equally as good, but you want to have it between, I don't know, about 1/3 inch to 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch is definitely the biggest you can get away with. Okay, so let's get my die machine. Right, so you will see that this is far too wide to go through all spread out like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 one side, and we're going to fold in the panels on one side like this, and that will fit through just. Okay, so that's what we want to do. And because I've made this stencil with the die that I'm going to use now, what it means is when I put so because I've tucked these under, these are the ones that you want to be doing. So the ones next to the flap are the ones you want to be die cutting, otherwise you're going to be making holes underneath. Okay, because I've made it with this just slots in, and it sort of keeps still, and it keeps it in position there. So I'll do one, and then I've got another one that I've done, because you don't need to sit and watch me doing 6 die cuts. So let me just show you. Okay, so that stayed in position, and even though you've got a piece of card and a piece of paper, piece of pattern paper, then that comes out quite nicely. A tip, keep hold of the pieces that you cut out, because what I do is I put them on the edges just to make a bit of detail there, so you can keep hold of those. So what you do is you do all 3 of those that side, and then you would fold those sections in and open those out, and then do these 3, so that, because if you look that side, they don't come together, so you will get 3 in each side. So I'll put that to one side, and then you just want to remove the template once you've done that. So rather than you sitting through me doing that 6 times, here's one I created earlier. So this is what I've got here, slightly different pattern way. So yeah, so these are the dies. This is the die that I've used, which is for the pearl. Really useful. Okay, so we're back to where we started. So I've now got my 6 holes there, and I've got 6 pieces that I've punched out as well. And then we can start constructing. So what I suggest you do is get a piece of blue tack. Now I've seen some people use like the glue dots, like the clear glue dots to do this. That looks too sticky for me. You just want something that's going to be strong enough to keep it in place, but not tear up the paper once you remove it. So I'm just going to put some blue tack. I'll put 4 or 5 pieces on. Okay, and then what you want to do, so if you lay that flat, you want to just bring that to it, and then that should make it, and then you can give it a good push down. If that's square like that, then that should make it a nice shape. Okay, so then you've got that in place to give it a good stick down. Okay, so what I want you to do is at this stage is with a pencil, a bit like we did before with crossing the piece that doesn't have any paper on. So the piece that has, so this is the bottom piece, so this has the extra flap underneath here. So this way up, I want you to put a cross on those 2 flaps. The reason being, when we open this up, these 2 sections are going to become the joint. That's the lid. So these 2 sections do not want to be adhered to the rest of it. So we're going to stick these together, and these are the 2 that we've just crossed off on here, both sides, so that it makes this hinge, and we're going to stick those 2 together, but not to anything else. Okay, so like I said, this is the panel under here. This is the bit, those 2 you want to just stick it so that you know not to glue those in a minute. Okay, so what we want to do now is the 2 pieces that go, what you can do is actually, if you fold all of these in on one side, you can put it down like that, and it makes it a bit easier. And because you've got the glue tack on, this is what allows you to be able to hold it. Okay, so these are the 2 with crosses. I'm going to move those out of my way. Okay, and so 2 that go opposite each other, what we want to do is glue those so that they're opposite each other. So you want to do it so that it tries to keep a nice hexagonal shape. And what you don't want to do, don't pull it too tight, because as you can see, it makes it really narrow. Try and have it, you need to keep these straight, but just have a piece of glue on the end. So I'm going to use tear and tape, which is perfect for this. And I'm just going to put a piece on the edge here. Oh my gosh, I'm off the fingers and thumbs. Okay, so I'm going to do it just so that it overlaps a little bit but keeps it straight. So about that. Looks good. Okay, take that off. And then you want to just put those 2 together and then give those a bit of a squeeze. Okay. So those are 2 I'm keeping out the way. And then what you want to do is glue those. I'm just going to unglue that a bit if I can. Can I undo that a bit? That is now, let's do that again, let me undo that. I think if anything I probably did it a bit too tight. Oh, let's try and get it straight. No, can't get it straight now, can I? There you go, that's better. Okay, the reason I took it apart is because I could see that it was, I'd made it too loose and I'd squashed it that way. So that's why I've redone that. And if you want to, you can go from the side and just give it a good press down, but you can get underneath it. Okay, so now I can see that it's more hexagonal when I put them all together. So you then want to put a piece of glue tape under each of these. So not the, remember we're keeping those out of the way. Okay, and just press those on top. Get your finger underneath. And again on this one. Okay, and then those two are going to go on top like that in a minute. Okay, so once we've done that, so we're going to leave those for the minute. Once we've done that, we're going to do the same the other side to keep it all balanced. So those are the two that I'm ignoring. So I need to stick those two together, and the other side should pretty much have created our shape for us. So I'm going to put that under there. So again, I'm just making sure those two are out the way. Okay, so like I said, the other side has pretty much kept the shape for us, so I'm just going to do that, just give that a squish, and then put the next two pieces down. Oh, I'm glad I've got nails. Again, give that a little press down. We can press it firmer in a minute when we get inside it. Oh, come on. It's not having it, is it? There you go. Okay. So, okay. So, now we've got our two sides together. You should be able to see it pretty much sits nice and straight. Okay. Now what we're going to do is stick these two sections together. So we want to keep it still stuck down, and what we want to do is we only want to stick these two to each other. We don't want to stick it to this. Okay, so we're going to put a piece of glue here and here, because only that is going to go under it. So I'm just going to put a little bit that edge and a bit that edge. Oh my, struggling today. Right, okay, and I'm going to stick that onto that piece, and that's the only bit it's going to stick onto. And then I'm going to do the same the other side. And you don't have to really worry about getting rid of the pencil marks either, because your circles will go over them in a minute. So again, so which way did I do that one? Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to put that one over the top. Okay, so again, we're going to stick this bit and a little bit there. I'll take that one off first because I might overlap it a little bit. And I won't be able to get the top layer off if I leave the protective film on. There we go. Okay, and that just wants to go there. So that isn't stuck to anything else. Okay, so that should then sit nicely. Okay, you might want to take a bit of time making sure that you get the shape right at the side. It doesn't matter if it's not exactly hexagonal, but it does need to fit the ribbon spools in. So if it's obviously too flat, it isn't going to fit in. Okay, so what do we want to do next? The next thing we can do then is the white pieces that I've set as 2 circles. So again, so that is going to cover that. So you want to sort of have it centralized, but again, you only want to stick it to the 2 openings. So the 2 that you've got your crosses on, that's the only place you want to be putting the circle. So let's have a look. So I think about there. So if I put a piece across there like that, that should be enough for that. I might put in a little piece there actually. I might regret that, seeing as how much trouble I'm having trying to get the protective film off. There we go. Okay, so again, it's only going to stick to the 2 that you've got a cross on. And then you just want to roughly make it centered on there. And then if you're happy with that, then I'm going to use a couple of the circles that I cut out from these here. And I'm going to just use a bit of glue tape. And I'm just going to place that roughly in the middle. Okay, and then we're going to do the same the other side. So about there. So I know that if I put it where the crosses are, I know that the glue is going to be in the right place because it'll be hidden. Right, last piece of this to fight with. Oh gosh, well it's good though, at least you know it's sticking. I'd always use tear and tape if I'm doing a project that has structure to tape together, anything like boxes or anything like that. So again, you want to centre it, and again you're only sticking it to those 2 sections, and then again I've got a little circle of the card that I've cut out from there. Okay, so come back to where your holes are, and then you can just gently lift that front panel with your blue tack on. Okay, you can fold this one back now to make a bit more of a lid. You can take your blue tack off. Blue tack does a really good job actually for this. I don't think you need to go as far as using glue dots. I think that will be too strong for it, to be honest, when you think you use that to permanently adhere things. Okay, so there's your box. Some people I've seen use magnets. You could put a magnet under here and a magnet under here. So now that you can open this, you can sort of just give it all a good squeeze down. Yeah, some people use magnets. Some people might put a magnet under here just so it closes, but to be honest, it doesn't need it. It stays closed quite nicely on its own. And then what you want to do then, so that's how it stands. And then what you want to do is put your ribbon in with the ribbon away from you. Put your ribbon in, lift your ribbon up, put it through one of the holes. Oh, well, it would do that, wouldn't it? There you go. It's because I've only got one in there. But there you go. There you have your ribbon dispenser. Like I said, you can get 6 ribbons in there. So that's a really, really nice, it's quite a nice gift if you've got a crafting friend that has lots of ribbon. It's quite a nice present for them to make for them, or just to tidy up your own stash. Hope you've enjoyed that. As I said, the papers are Dainty Flowers from which are free at the moment with the celebration, and they're lovely papers. 12 by 12 size, so, and they're really nice. You're going to make some really nice cards out of that. So I hope you enjoyed it. As always, you can find my details at www.amandascraftedcards.stampinup.net, so you can see the products on there. And I'm on Pinterest and Facebook and YouTube as Amanda's Crafted Cards. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy making your own. I'm going to make a couple more of these, I think, to try and see if I can tidy up my my ribbon stash somewhat, because I've got a few. The trouble is I like all the ribbons and I don't want to use them. Anyway, take care, and I shall speak to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.